Welcome to the 21st episode of the Austin Downbeat. Can you believe it? Thank you so much for continuing to watch and support and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, that would be awesome if you do. First thing, rundown for this week, starting July 12th through the 18th. Here's what's happening in your neighborhood. Wednesday, July 13th, Justin Langston is at Idle Hands. Thursday, the 14th, Ghetto Gala is at Long Center for those Thursday night drop-ins. I think you need to RSVP online, not necessarily get a ticket, but Ghetto Gala. So that's Jake Lloyd and DZ Brown. They're awesome. Darden Smith on the same night on the 14th is hosting the Who Said You Could Do That series at the Stateside. And this week's guest is Eric Johnson, the amazing guitar player. I grew up listening to my brother play Cliffs of Dover over and over and over. So I feel like I know Eric Johnson, but I actually don't. So we should go there and see that conversation. Friday, the 15th, Susanna Schaffel is at Schultz Garden. Also same night, Billy Currington is at the Round Rock Amphitheater, and also same night, Brandy Carlisle, who is one of my, bow down to her, favorites. She is at the Moody Amphitheater. So that's Friday, July 15th. Saturday, the 16th, I know this is a lot. Skyrocket is at Hotspot. You guys, if you don't know Skyrocket, Trish, Darren Murphy, Johnny Gowdy, I can't think of the other people's names, but beloveds are playing at the Hotspot. Also, Gina Chavez is at the Jester King Brewery. And then to finish it out, Monday night supper clubs are still going on at El Mercado South at their backstage stage. And you have Ben Jones, Pat Byrne, and Barbara Nesbitt. And you get some food and you sit down and you listen to some songs and you listen to some comedy because they're very funny. And it's a really great night. So that's Monday, July 18th. That does it for the rundown. So today, in this episode, I talk with 5 sweet, talented young men that make up the band called Uncommon People. They have been around for the last 2.5 years. Writing songs, putting music out. Devin, Tony, Zeke, Dan, and Diego. They are sweet. They are all together in this conversation, and they each have a unique perspective on the last 2.5 years and how it started, what's challenging, what's next, all those good things. Their latest EP is called Royalty, and on it is Do Rag, which I think is the latest release. Great videos. They're very creative, stylistic. They all wear crowns and they promise they'll get me one. And so they have some good stuff going on, and I really enjoyed talking to them, and I hope you do too. So please enjoy my conversation with Uncommon People, Devin, Tony, Zeke, Dan, and Diego. All right. Welcome to the Austin Downbeat Uncommon People. We have Devin, Tony, Zeke, Daniel, and Diego with us today. Thanks, guys, for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This is exciting.
I'm excited for you. So I wanted, since there's 5 of you, I want to give each of you a chance to kind of give a quick couple minutes of, where you're from. And also what I'm always really interested in is like that moment for musicians where it really became clear to you that you were like, yeah, not only am I good at music, but that's what I want to do. And that's what I'm going to make happen for my life. So it's always kind of a unique situation for people. So I find a lot of value in that for listeners of like, because we're all just people and we all have to survive, but we all have gifts and passions. And so I really admire, obviously, the reason I do the show is to talk to people like you that do live out your creative passions and perform and offer that to us. So why don't we start with you, Diego? Tell me just a little bit about where you're from and what that was like, that moment for you of like, yeah, I want to do music.
For sure. It's actually a really good question. I mean, I'm from Austin. I mean, I could just like answer the question. Like most of us are from Austin, except for one person, and I'll let you guess who that is in a bit. But uh, I guess the first like revelation of music I had was, I mean, I grew up in church. They handed me a bass. They're like, try this out. I'm like, all right, whatever. But I went to my very first concert, and it just blew me away because I had no idea who these people were, and I just showed up. It was a free show during South by Southwest, and it so happened to be the Strokes
Whoa.
performing for free, and I was like, okay. I was a middle schooler. I was like, okay, this is cool. And then they just blew my mind. I'm like, bro, the music could sound like this.
Yeah.
It's not all this church music. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What about you, Daniel?
So for me, it kind of started when I was around 6, 7. Um, my sister gifted me this first act drum kit, which was pretty basic if you guys have ever seen one. It's just like the kick, the snare, uh, the hi-hat, and maybe if you're lucky, it comes with a cymbal. Kind of similar story. My family would surround me with gospel music, so that's all I knew at that time at a young age. But yeah, I would play the drums and I would just like replicate what I would hear. And immediately I kind of had a skill there where I could like just listen to something and then replicate it as a young kid. And I ended up losing my drumsticks. So that didn't stop me. I went to the kitchen one day, I remember. I went to the kitchen one day and I grabbed some knives from the drawers. And then I was like, all right, great, I'm ready for this. I put my headphones on and then I started playing. But that lasted for like just a few seconds before I ruined my own drum kit.
Yeah.
So lesson learned. But ever since then, I've been surrounded by music at church, and I would play on and off. And it's just something that I know to this day, just the music just flows through my very being. Like it's something that I'll always feel. There's always a certain type of high when you're on stage that I've felt since I was little, and I'm glad I got to experience that at such a young age.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so powerful. Zeke, what about you?
My whole life I wanted to be an entertainer, so I just didn't know whether it was going to be acting, music, or what. But music was there the whole time. But I think I would say my junior year in college, like 2012, was when I released my first music video, and I was like, yeah, I can do this. This is fun. I enjoy it, and whether every part of it. So yeah, I think around that time, for about 10 years now, I've been taking
Wow.
myself seriously.
Good for you. It's nothing to take lightly. It's a real accomplishment to do that because you got to really jump in with both feet.
Sure thing.
No net, It's awesome.
Right.
I love that. I admire that. Tony, what about you?
So for me, music has been in my life for almost the entirety of it. My dad actually was in a cumbia band when we were born, and in that we've been playing music. Also with my brother, I started off in church as well. So like I've been playing instruments for a while since like I guess I picked it up at 9 years old. Yeah, but yes, ever since it's just been in my DNA, and I feel like it's been a calling ever since then. And I think I'm in that right step.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Devin, what about you? Bring it home.
All right. So both of my parents are like the black sheeps of their family. They're both come from like religious families, but they both listen to a bunch of like, I guess, rebellious music.
Yeah,
so
that was me.
From like old soul to like rock and roll. I grew up on a lot of rock, anything from like old school rock, like I don't know, I guess like some blues is considered rock. So like Albert King was one of the big ones, or Jimi Hendrix. But then as I, went through the stages, there's like 80s rock, 90s, all that kind of stuff. But there's no one else that's musical in my family. And the only other person was my brother. And I used to sneak into the garage where his drum set was. And I would like play it when he wasn't home. And after so much time, he got a guitar and I would do the same thing. And my parents and he also found out about it. So they just kind of got tired of him like bickering about it. So they got me my own guitar. Nice. And so since I was like 14, I've been just listening to vinyls or listening to music or picking up whatever book I could. and just kind of, I guess, imitating and reintroducing things in my own way. And so it's been a moment, but I feel like what everybody else kind of said, it's been in my blood since I was born. I was just born to play and do this.
I love that. It's like I always call music like the soul's DNA. It's just such a, you know, I have yet to meet a person who just doesn't respond in some way to music. You know, it's just like, it can bring back memories. I'll hear a song and I'll remember exactly where I was the last time I heard that song. Like, it just puts an imprint, you know, on the brain. It's really, really powerful. So how long have you guys been together, and how did you meet? Obviously, most of you are from here, so probably know each other, but like, what was that like, meeting each other? Or did you just kind of always know each other and then go, hey, we should like do this together? Whose fault is it?
Whose fault is this?
I would have to say that it's probably mine and Tony's, I guess, fault in the most.
In a good way. In a good way.
Tony, Dan, and Diego, they all grew up playing music together and being friends. And then coincidentally, all of us went to like the same event that Zeke and his fiance had been hosting at the time, about like 2.5 years ago. Awesome. And then at the time I was working with Tony. Well, technically we all work together now, but me and Tony were working together, and I would bug him a lot because he produced music and I was just getting into it. And I was like, man, I think we could make something special happen. And then after like bugging him enough times, we ended up like making music, vibing it out. And then he brought on Dan and Diego after so much time. And then Zeke was someone that I was like, we need a singer. And I think I have him. And I just ran into him one day because he started the same job. And I was like, what the hell? So we ended up just starting a band, and it was very serendipitous that it all kind of happened 2.5 years ago. And then the rest is really just history.
Yeah. And so your latest, so is Royalty your first EP?
No, we put out our first EP in 2021.
Okay.
It was called Emotions, and it was in May. And that's like a 5-song track, which featured a single that we had released a little earlier.
Okay, cool. And then you released Royalty in 20, was it this year that you released that?
Yeah, we released 2 EPs. We released the Love EP in February around Valentine's Day, and then we released Royalty just recently.
Awesome. And I was checking out some of your music videos, and there's a lot going on in them. And it's like, it feels like, I was like, whoa, you sort of exceeded my expectation. I was like, these guys have some creative power, and they're really I still don't even know really what word to put to it other than they're just freaking cool. So
I appreciate that.
do you all kind of have that? Is there anyone that we sort of in the group had to like talk into putting a crown on and being kind of in that dramatic, or is everyone down for it?
Everybody was down for it. When we were coming up with the idea for the music video, that initially was the first thing we all thought of, like the crown idea, you know what I mean? And the song is, you know, I'm just with my do-rag, and we imagined the do-rag crowning, the do-rag crowning your head. Yeah. So we're like, okay, crowns is something that we should put on. And what we had said with the song, like the crowns that we're crowning ourselves for the destiny, our destiny, we're crowning our destiny, right? Yeah. For whatever we have in the future.
Yeah. I thought it was a really cool interpretation and really refreshing, and like just so pleasantly surprised. So kudos to you guys. I think it's neat to see a group of young artists and performers do something different, you know. There's a lot of the same stuff out there. So, and I see in here
uncommon people.
right. It does.
And we are uncommon people.
I love it. Speaking of that, is that how did you, I mean, I think it's a great name for you guys. Even my 12-year-old daughter was like, that's a good name for a band. How did you guys come up with that?
Oh, how did that come?
So I'm gonna condense the story. We were pretty much going through names, and the last thing we had before that was just a placeholder because everything else was taken and we couldn't figure anything else out. Or we just didn't want to, or like put the time into it. So one day we spent like I don't know, like 8 hours. We were just all in one room in my dining room. And we just went through name after name, looking up how long it had been, if it was a band or all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we all kind of just agreed on Uncommon People because it was the only one that we all kind of didn't like but didn't hate. And then it was just dead in the middle. And so we just said, okay, that's what we are. And then after, I think, a few shows, we were just like, yeah, this works.
I think sometimes, I think sometimes the name sort of has to marinate a little bit, and you have to kind of sink into it and let it become, you know, just like get your brain used to hearing it and just kind of sink in a little bit. I think it's great for you guys. And I think it fits you really well, because first video I watched and music that I'm hearing, I'm just like, wow, like this is fresh and new and cool. And they're so young and they're like taking chances, and it's really cool. Really, really cool. Especially for such a, you know, fairly new band, not, you know, fairly new. What are some of the challenges that you guys face as a 5-piece band, you know, in Austin, Texas? We're going to talk a little bit later of like how best. I always ask my guests, like, how can the listeners support you? Because I'm a really big advocate of that piece. But beside that, what are some of the challenges that you guys face in doing this thing?
That's an excellent question, because every time we meet, we're just trying to get better every time. I guess like communication is a big thing, you know, like 5 people, 5 brains, like you have to talk, you have to speak your mind.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, like, kind of just, your ideas don't come out. And sometimes like your idea might be adding to like the process, and it might, you know, improve something that someone else had said.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
Another challenge is the fact that we are new. You know, it's not as easily digestible. Our sound is very different as well. So in terms of having to prove ourselves and, you know, coming off as put together as we are and having people be able to understand what we're giving off in the moment, that was a difficulty at one point. I think it probably will continue, because, you know, anything that's new, people are trying to put into a box to understand it. So I completely get that with everyone doing that, but there was no box for us, and what you see is what you get, kind of. So that kind of has been like a little challenge, but I mean, we've been able to work around it for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Zeke. I've heard that, had this conversation with other guests, because the brain, especially with music, like the brain wants to organize the song. We want resolution, we want pattern, we want repetition, right? Just talking about a song. But then you have the artist in the group, and then you have multiple people. And yeah, the brain still wants to organize that and go, okay, well, where do I put it? Right? What do I call it? What label, you know, the genres are like good and bad, because we need them in order to market you and bands, but also genres can be so limiting and frustrating, especially for a sound like you guys, because you don't want to fit into a box of genre and slap a label on us and go put us in the machine, right? I think time is a big friend, you know, just really, and you guys staying consistent and really tethered to what your intention is as a group, and setting your goals and sticking to those and making them stair-stepped goals, all the while keeping as consistent. Anywhere that you can be consistent, be consistent. Anywhere that you can blaze a trail and punch out and vector out that's appropriate, then do that. But like, you also have to kind of hang on a little bit to consistency so that people can trust what you're going to do. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's not, I talk to a lot of musicians, and you guys are not alone in that. And I'm sure you know that, obviously, but I think, yeah, time, consistency. I love communication. I mean, that's everywhere in every relationship. It's communication. And you got to strengthen that. I'm glad you guys are getting that, I think, as young men too, because, you know, not just within a band, but everywhere in the world, we have to strengthen that communication muscle. And so I think what a testing ground for you guys to have to really use that on a daily basis within the group. It's pretty cool. I'm sure your girlfriends appreciate it, or your wives, or your partners, or, I mean, you're probably like really getting to be awesome communicators, which It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Asa, any other challenges?
I mean, it's kind of what you kind of just touched on, just consistency in every single way, because that can come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. So it might be merchandising or branding or a certain set of songs, what shows, what bands you play with, what artists you associate yourself with. And I think for us, our music, our ideas, and everything that we do is just as uncommon as every other part of it. And the more we dive deeper into what it means to be in this band and what it means to be uncommon people and everything else, it really just takes a new form. And that's why like our music is always just ever changing. And I think it's kind of what you said, just finding a consistency within that and finding a stride, but then still holding on to what is true to you.
Yeah. Kind of like organized chaos in a way, you know, even within your name, it's uncommon, and I can depend on you guys to not be what I expect, but I still have to be able to depend on that. Right. So no matter what, I have to have something to depend on. Right. It's a really interesting concept. I love that you guys are bringing that to the market. I love that you're bringing that to the table. It's challenging, and it's challenging for you guys, and it's challenging for the listener too. So it's cool. The dog can come in.
Oh no, it's my cat. His cat. He's very talkative. He meows like
Really
a
loud.
lot.
He wakes me up every morning.
Communication.
He actually has something to say about uncommon people. What would you like to say?
Yeah. You have the floor.
You got the floor now.
I love it. I love it.
What's it?
Hey, I'm a big fan of Lightstream Media and their Rogue series. You guys shot something in the bathroom, which is so freaking cool. What was it like working with I love that. I love what they do. So cool. What was that like?
They're cool people. They reached out to us, and then they were we were just trying to figure out a good spot for it and something that was cool, uncommon, and just still thinking to what they were thinking. And they reached out one day, and we were trying to figure out a venue. And that venue, they're like, "Yeah, we got this really cool spot." And I remember the day we get there, I'm like walking through this house. I'm like, okay, where is it gonna be? There's all these open spots, and then just leads us to this bathroom. I was like, And so we all just like.
We just went with it.
We got in the tub.
The acoustics were decent though.
Oh yeah, it was pretty cool. It was really cool.
Yeah,
Loved it. Shout out to Lightstream.
Yes, huge shout out to Lightstream. I feel like that's kind of your thing though. Like, what would be really attractive and like really pull me toward you guys is like the thought in my head of like, what are they going to do next? Like, where am I going to see them next? Like, that's a cool thought as a listener to be like, I can count on them doing something really cool and crazy, like, singing in a bathtub and, but making it so artistic and cool and not like kitschy and not, campy, but just, you made it cool, which I don't think everybody could do that for the record. So kudos to you guys. What do you guys have going on show wise, and what's kind of your calendar looking like, and what's next for you with this new batch of songs and everything?
Beginning of July, we got 2 shows that first weekend.
Nice.
The 7th and 8th. Yeah, the 7th and the 8th.
Where are they?
We'll be playing at the Ballroom at Spider House, and then the second house, the Hole in the Wall on the UT campus.
Nice. Okay, good. I'll help promote those for sure. And then what else? What else was I going to ask you? If you were to open for someone, what would be like your dream pairing, like dream opening gig?
That is such a great question. And I don't know if I think all of us have different answers.
Yeah, well, everybody tell me.
Yeah. All right.
Go ahead, Diego.
Kendrick Lamar, for sure.
Dude.
Because his sound is like different everywhere. It's like, Gambino would be cool. I don't know. He doesn't do music anymore.
Lately, I've been listening to The Weeknd, and that's somebody that I would love to open up with. The Weeknd. Yeah.
Awesome. Daniel, you're deep in thought. You're so in thought.
I would go with Outkast just because I think they went on a hiatus for a while, and then they got back together for this festival, and if they were ever to get back again, they'd be like, hey, common people, y'all want to open up for us? I'd be like, yeah. I'd be to me, yes. Yeah.
Like that answer.
Awesome.
Zeke, I want to hear Zeke's. I want to hear Zeke's too.
I know, me too. He's so quiet, but when he speaks.
I guess just for the sake of where we are in music now, I would probably say Earth Gang, Omar Apollo, or I would say Silk Sonic.
Oh, yeah. That'd be pretty sweet, actually. I could see that'd be, I like the continuity between you and Silk Sonic too. Yeah. That'd be really cool.
I'll just try adding to all this. I don't know. I think it'd be really cool to do something with like Genevieve or Thundercat. I think if we were to go like any kind of rock or anything like that, I think it'd be really cool to go with like Michael Kiwanuka or Tom Misch. I think those are some really cool artists. I think that'd be cool. Or even Tame Impala. We could do that with Tame Impala. I would heartbeat.
Yeah, well, let's manifest all of that. We just put all of that out into the universe. Just bring it back. I love it. You guys are so cute. What is the best way, before we wrap it up, what's the best way for people to support you? And I'm talking like dollars in your pocket. You know, I mean, I love emotional support. I love likes. I love follows, and that stuff is great. But dollars, how can people support you so that you can continue to do what you need to be doing and love to be doing?
Well, eventually we do have merch coming out.
Awesome. I bet it's going to be amazing.
Right now.
But right now, if you go on our Spotify and after you're jamming our music and you go to the top, you can make a little contribution to your boys. Our Cash App is linked to our Spotify.
Awesome.
So if you like what you hear, come on, baby.
Yes, and then our Venmo is Uncommon PPL. Like you could find us pretty much on everything with the same consistency of that name. Cash App, Venmo. Yeah, so let us know.
Are you guys on Bandcamp?
We are.
Yeah, because Bandcamp's great. They actually give quite a bit back to the artists, more than most. That's
Same
great.
People.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, that does it for the interview. I really appreciate you guys stopping by and getting to know you. I'm a big fan now. Thank you for doing what you do and pushing the ball up the hill and just continuing to offer that to us. I really admire it. And I don't think it's a small thing, you know, to pursue your passion, kind of sit at that intersection of your gifts and your passions. It's a big deal.
Thank
you.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, such a pleasure to meet you guys. I will be following you. I'll put your shows on my calendar and I'll give it a go to try to come see you on the 7th or the 8th. And I'll be sitting in the front row cheering you guys on.
Cool. Looking forward to it. Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I'd love to meet you guys in person. It'd be so awesome. I want my own crown though.
Very doable.
We could do it. Your merch should be crowns. You guys should sell crowns. How cool would that be?
Dude, that sounds fire.
Just go to Michael's craft store and just, you know, make some crowns and sell them at shows. That'd be pretty sweet. I'd wear one. I'm just All right, guys. Well, that does it for another episode of the Austin Downbeat. Thanks for watching. And thank you to Devin, Tony, Zeke, Daniel, and Diego for Uncommon People having a chat with us. We will see you next time.